Well, well, well. It's Tuesday the 21st of August, and who would have thought we've been living with the agony of having to put up with the crap that Malcolm Turnbull's been serving us for some time now, a couple of years I think it is, and finally, things have finally come to a head, and Peter Dutton has challenged him in the party room. He lost the challenge, but it doesn't matter because he only just lost the challenge. Turnbull got 48 votes and Dutton got 35, which basically means 42% of Liberal MPs are dissatisfied with Malcolm Turnbull, which basically means his leadership is untenable now. And it's great news. I haven't got the champagne corks popping, but I've got them chilled. I've got the bottles chilled, and I'm just waiting for good news to occur, maybe in a week or two's time, because everyone is saying now that Turnbull is mortally wounded, and he has to be, because the Liberal Party can't go on with someone like that. They know that the party's divided, and it's been a shocking week for him, even by his pathetic standards. Turnbull went out in the bush and for a photo opportunity, dressed himself up with the R.M. Williams to make him look like he's a real authentic cowcocky, which anyone in a million years knows he's not. He has the authenticity of a $3 bill. But so he goes out there and he promises the piddling amount of $150 million for drought-affected farmers. It's just an insult to them. Not as much of an insult, though, that as Anastasia Palaszczuk. She offered a lousy $100,000. I mean, it's just pathetic. These politicians are so out of touch. I think Gladys Berejiklian in New South Wales offered a much more substantial amount, so at least she gets off when it comes to that. But bloody Turnbull's got no idea. See, his priorities are different. The Liberal Party's priorities are different. Do you know that Scott Morrison was having orgasms over the fact that the GST on tampons had been abolished? That was the big policy move that in his mind. But this is the same party that thought that the gay marriage win was more important than energy policy and immigration policy. Now, if Dutton does win the next ballot, I'm hoping that at least on this one particular crucial policy, I think that he will have some effect, which will be the immigration policy. He's been good on border protection, and I'm hoping that he will also be very tough on the numbers of immigrants coming into this country. We have to slash the numbers. It's absurd how many people are coming into Melbourne and Sydney. So I'm hoping that he'll do something on that. I'm also hoping that he'll do something about the energy policy and scrap the renewable subsidies straight away, so we can get around to building coal-fired power stations to give ourselves reliable base load power. It takes 7 years to build these bastards, so we need to get moving right now. We really needed to get you moving yesterday, but at least it's better than nothing. And maybe he'll put some priorities into building dams. I mean, he's a Queensland boy, and that's encouraging, because hopefully a bit more common sense will come from him. So I'm pretty happy if Peter Dutton's the man who wins eventually, and of course brings Tony Abbott into the cabinet. It's absurd that Tony Abbott is a backbencher. I'd like to probably have Tony Abbott back as the PM, because I think it's disgusting what happened to him. But if we can't have that, I think Peter Dutton would be a very good choice. So I'm just my fingers crossed with anticipation. I think we've had a crucial move today. This is actually a move to really get rid of Turnbull. And the people are going to be really pissed off? They're going to be the Labor Party, because when they get a true Conservative running the Liberal Party, the base will come straight back. And there was an interview with Richo today. He's in a hospital doing tests and what have you, and he was talking about crap like getting Julie Bishop in as a leader. That would be a terrible move. Julie Bishop is one of the problems in the Liberal Party. She's a total wet and very, very left wing. She's the last person I would want to see as Prime Minister, to be quite frank. It'd be basically Turnbull light, in my opinion. So I wouldn't want that. And I was very surprised that Richo was quite dismissive of the vote amassing qualities that Peter Dutton can have. he thought he was just too negative. I disagree. I think Peter Dutton will be a very sensible person to bring in, and I think the electorate will love the message he has, which will be one of basically bringing in conservative policies such as in energy and in immigration and water conservation, all these important priorities that should have been looked at years ago. We've basically wasted a couple of years because of Turnbull bloody sitting on his arse, more worried about trendy sort of policies. But he's had the backflip. He wanted to sign that Paris Agreement, which would have tied us up with those renewable targets. Now that's not the case, so that's a first win. But the other one was, of course, that immigration compact through the UN. I mean, anyone who signs something like that is crazy. They should just run away from it 100 miles an hour. But it looks as though things are going okay. Long term, I would like to see a proper Conservative government then start tackling education, because there's no doubt a lot of the crap that's happening in this country with the pitiful class of journalists. I mean, they're just pathetically biased and agenda-driven these days. They don't carry out the news anymore. I'll give you actually a perfect example of that. The reason I say the education when tied up with journalism is because most of the journalists now come out of universities and they're taught by left-wing lecturers. Now, what I'm saying is we need to do something about that. But it brings to mind even the Murdoch press, which is regarded as conservative, especially by many left-wingers in this country. I believe that they're becoming very, very left-wing themselves. And an example of that is the local rag, the Cairns Post. They referred to the local member as the Lion of Leichhardt. You've got to be kidding. So that's the sort of bias you got. And then you've got someone like Miranda Devine writing for The Australian, who is so fixated on Turnbull. She continually writes articles basically praising him like she's got some schoolgirl crush. It's pathetic. There's just no objectivity with her reporting regarding that. She can be a good reporter. She can write good articles, but when it comes to Turnbull, she's totally blinkered. And of course, then you've got the ones from the far left, like the Nikki Savas, who are just full of venom and bile and hate, the classic hard left approach. And they call themselves journalists. You've got to be kidding. This country really needs better. It needs a better media, and it needs better education. So I'm just hoping that this might be one step in the right direction finally. I'm just praying that that's the case, and that we'll be seeing the arse end of Malcolm Turnbull in, say, 7 to 14 days. Fingers crossed. Tick, 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 Malcolm. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.